Hello and welcome to Toneless Painting with M. Francis McCarthy. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy. And welcome as well to day 26 of 25 days of tonalism. I know we wrapped up day 25 last week, but as promised, I had a little bit of a bonus day here. And unfortunately, it looks like there's some sporadic weirdness that went on with the videotaping process. As you can see, we just suddenly jumped to the sky half painted in, but I've decided to leave this in it, and we're also missing the drawing portion, but it's such a cool painting by Francis Murphy that I'm going to go ahead and share it with you in its current form, since you were essentially looking at kind of a bonus day anyway. And it's a really cool scene by Francis Murphy, and I really enjoyed painting it. This study came out looking quite nice, and there you go. It is a bit of a drag to me when things happen with the video camera. It could just be my chair. I move back and it hits the leg of the tripod, so things veer off, or I forget to hit record, or my good mate who comes in for a cup of tea, he hits the camera without noticing it. Or any of these things can happen, but it doesn't happen very often, so I'm not too worried about it. And like I say, I do hundreds of paintings every year and manage to get complete videos on the overwhelming majority of them. So anyway, today is Saturday here in New Zealand. It is the 13th and the year, of course, 2017. The royal we are in the studio today. I just did let's see, this morning I got in pretty early, actually, especially for a Saturday, and coated some paintings with the liquid, which evens out these areas of matte and shininess on the painting. And I've got one I've been struggling with. It's by the brook. It's a big painting. It's actually fairly nice looking, but I had a incident where I hit it with that liquid and something wasn't properly dry. Things started smearing. It wasn't so bad though that I couldn't save it, but saving it's been taking a while, and it's a bit frustrating. And I noticed that because of all the extra coats of liquid, I've got almost a high gloss surface on it now, which I don't really care for, but I'm going to see it through. It's good enough to work with. What I've noticed on the bottom is I'm kind of blindly working with the lights, and I've got some areas where I've kind of stabbed in some darks on the ground that are too dark, and so are kind of standing out, jumping out. Unfortunately, I was hoping to get that painting and start doing some photography. I think what I'm going to do is cut my losses and do some photography with the other 7 paintings that have been done a while on Monday, and just take by the brook. And I know I can fix it. I think I'm going to do some glazing on the bottom of it and a little more working, and it'll be all right. It's okay. It's just not going as nice as I would have hoped. And like I say, I have built up quite a lot of liquid on this paint, and a lot of paint as well on this painting. And whatever, things happen. I have noticed that since I've been using more black than my previous chromatic black mixture, that sometimes I have to make sure and give things extra time to dry. And I've noticed that the black is more movable and I've had less adhesion in some instances. Again, this could be down to a bad batch of medium as well. I'm not quite sure, but I've run into a few problems with some smearing, and it's always a bummer. Now I've got my antenna up though, and I'm paying attention. And there was one I was going to coat with liquid this morning, a little 5x7 study, and but I could see, because I do some scraping down with the knife, and I could see that there's a certain way things act. I'm going, okay, I'm going to wait And discretion, of course, always the better part of valor. Best to wait and make sure you're not going to have any big issues. So that's what I'm going to do. Other than that, I've been done a little painting this morning as well. I'm basically doing a second pass on these. I think it's like 18 little 5x7 studies I've done, and I've got some real winners in there. I've got some that are just okay. And some, of course, in the middle, and things always fall like that. But I'm going to take those top 5 and turn them into larger paintings starting next week. So I may be able to get in and do some board prep for those larger boards, because I'm going to need something to paint on when I get back in the studio Monday. As you guys probably know, I don't usually paint on Sunday. So anyway, that's all going pretty well, and no real complaints there other than the struggle with this by the brook. I have another one called I don't know, it's Afternoon Dusk, or it's a painting I've actually featured as a video here on the YouTube and the blog in its 8x10 form a while back, and it's a strong motif. And the large version of 1622, it came out looking pretty good. It's always a bit of a double-edged sword comparing larger paintings to smaller ones. The larger paintings, they're more work and more things can go wrong. It requires a whole different mindset and a type of attention, which is one reason why I charge a heck of a lot more for the big ones, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Although, it's funny how you'll get someone come to the studio and point at a painting and say, "How much is that?" And you'll tell them, and they go, "Ooh," well, they don't usually go, "Ooh," they just kind of leave. But I don't know what they're thinking. You're going to get an 1824 original oil painting that took me weeks to do for $200? I don't think so. Hey, I got a 5x7 study for you, actually for less than $200, but nah. It's I guess it's just wishful thinking on their part, but I don't worry too much about that. And a lot of people, they don't appreciate the time and effort that goes into creating an original painting, and they don't realize, even if it did go pretty well, this only took you a grand total of 8 hours. 8 hours over several weeks, and not to mention all the prep and all the other things that you can't see that went into it, and then all the failed paintings, all the things that didn't work out. You've got to average it all out and look at what's going on, and that's always a thing. But not that I worry too much about that stuff. I worry about doing good paintings, and I try not to even worry about that. I just, I set out to do good paintings, and sometimes I succeed and sometimes I fail, and that makes me no different from any other painter I think that's ever been around. I want to point out that I think if you're into Pinterest, if you do a search for M. Francis there, you might find a link to my Tonalism page. I don't know if I'd go to the trouble of putting any links on my blog or anything, but lately I've been putting quite a few paintings on there. Not my paintings, of course, but a whole bunch of Francis Murphy's I came across last night I've never seen before. And this is kind of almost a holding area for things I might do studies of in the future. I especially like doing studies after Francis Murphy, since he was so successful at getting a lot of effects that I think are just totally awesome, and like the one we're looking at now. We're getting sort of close to the end, so I want to point out that I've got a link in the YouTube there to the Saatchi art page, which I'm gradually putting paintings up. I've got a stack over here right off to my right of about 20 something paintings that I'll end up putting up there. Sizes ranging from 5x5, or no, 5x5 on up to 12x16, and some pretty good paintings there. Some of them are a bit older. Hopefully we'll see some action with Saatchi. I have seen some good results with uGallery in the past, but we're trying Saatchi now. Also, if you like my videos here, click subscribe. That's always cool. And you can see and follow my work at my website, landscapepainter.co.nz. And you can also follow my blog through there. There's also a link to the blog at the bottom of the video. And that has a higher res image of this painting we did today. So if you're curious, you can go check that out. And I will be back tomorrow with another one of my own paintings. Meanwhile, take good care and stay out of trouble.